Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Got a couple of Glocks on the table today. A couple of small Glocks. Well, small and smaller. I've got a 42, which is chambered in .380, and I've got a 43, which is chambered in 9x19. And when Glock released the 42 first, and then subsequently the 43, they became instantly popular. Everybody had been wanting a very small, compact, concealed carry gun from Glock, and they only offered double stack. The 26 was the smallest they had. Now they're coming out with the 43X and the 48, so they're really kind of going into that line. So let's first pick each one of these things up, demonstrate that they're not going to try to bite us. So that one's harmless. And that one's harmless. So we've got two inert Glocks that we can talk about. So one of the things that tends to come up, mostly in conversations with friends, coworkers, and things like that, is why do I carry one or the other of these? I've got both, so I could carry either. What makes me pick one or the other? And what are the advantages and disadvantages? So when I talk about this, I'm going to kind of go on the presumption that you're comparing between the 42 and the 43 for this video. There's lots of other really good, high quality, small guns like this out there that you might be considering. We've got different videos on those. But today's going to be between the 42 and the 43. The most obvious difference, of course, is the caliber. This one's chambered in .380, which is actually a very effective caliber. It may not be your first choice for mainstream if you can carry anything you want to, but I sure don't want to be on the receiving end of one of them. And then this one is in popular 9mm, which is a well-known, proven caliber. From a size perspective, the 42 is 5.94 inches long, and the 43, which go ahead and close it, is 6.26 inches long. So there is a noticeable difference in length between them. The width, the 42 is 0.9 inches, which is this one here on the left, or 0.98 inches, and the slide is 0.87, and the 43 is 1.06 inches overall with a slide of 0.87. So I've got the same slide, but the 43 is a little bit fatter. From a height perspective, the 42 definitely has an advantage. And if I can get them like this, it's the easiest way to do it. The 42 is 4.13 inches tall with the magazine, and the 43 is 4.25 inches tall with the magazine. So let me go ahead and whiz magazine them. So you can see when I stand them up properly, there is a noticeable difference in height. And of course the grip is the hardest part to hide. So that is something that you're really going to want to focus on. And they both hold 6 rounds. So you've got 6 rounds capacity in either gun, but the 42 is a smaller overall footprint. The barrel length on the 42 is 3.25 inches. The barrel length on the 43 is 3.41 inches. Weight, 12.17 ounces for the 42 empty and 13.76 with the mag in it. 16.23 empty on the 43 and 17.99 with the mag. That's noticeable. That's one of the big differences when you're trying to carry one of these little tiny guns. You're either carrying it because it's a backup gun, you're going to put it on your ankle or something, or you're carrying it because what you're going to wear, whether it's a suit or business casual, doesn't permit you to carry a bigger gun. You're needing to go a little profile. So let's get into the question of why would I pick one versus the other? Well, looking at why I would pick either is basically what I was describing a second ago. I can't carry something bigger in this situation, or don't need to in the case of a backup gun. So I'm really going to want the very smallest I can possibly get. If caliber is a major concern, then I've pretty much got no choice. It's going to be the 43. If I'm willing to get over the fact that doesn't have to be the biggest caliber I can carry, and I really just want the smallest package, then the 42 would really come into play. And the thought behind it is, if I'm wanting something more powerful, or I'm wanting more capacity, or a bigger caliber, then I'm probably going to have to change my dress situation so that I can carry a bigger caliber. If I'm looking to put it on my ankle as a backup gun, a lot less reciprocating weight. Weight at the end of your ankle really adds up quickly as you're moving your legs back and forth. Another thing to consider is your primary carry might be something like this Glock 26. And if we compare the 43 to the 26, now keep in mind the 26 has a laser on it, so that that adds visible bulk, but overall the trigger guards are very similar. These guns aren't that much different in overall size. The 43 is 6.26 inches long, so it's a little bit shorter because the Glock is 642. I'm sorry, the Glock 26 is 642. The slide is really the biggest difference. If I put them up side by side, it's about 0.2 inches bigger for the overall width of the 26, because of course it's a double stack. So that might be one of the reasons why you would go with one or the other, because it's thinner. But from a height perspective, that is something where it's kind of interesting. The 26 is shorter. And that isn't something I necessarily expected. Let me get them up side by side and vertical. The 26 is a little bit shorter. And again, I mentioned earlier, the grip is the hardest part to hide. So in a lot of cases, if I have the ability to carry this, chances are pretty good I could carry this. And at that point, I've got 10 rounds of capacity instead of 6. So the 43 starts to lose a little bit of luster when you start looking at the overall footprint and the size and the weight. Now the 26, of course, is heavier. It holds more ammo. You'll fill the thing up. It's going to be heavier, and that's nothing you could avoid, but it's the extra 4 rounds. Now, one of the arguments that's frequently made is, well, I want my backup gun in the same caliber as my primary gun. And I can see some logic behind that, but the problem is this doesn't fit. So if my primary gun goes down, let's say my primary is a 26 and it goes down, I can't just swap the mags over. So I'm going to have to strip mags and load mags. At that point, if I got time to strip mags and reload mags, I probably have time to fix whatever has malfunctioned here and get this back in the action. You're not generally going to be in a situation like you would in a military encounter where your buddies can, do overwatch and drop down some cover fire while you mess around swapping magazines or anything else. You're pretty much going to pull your backup gun and use it like it is. That starts to give this a little bit more luster when you start looking at it. It's going to be ready to go. The caliber compatibility, being able to have your primary and your backup the same caliber, starts to lose a little bit of its value when you look at what it would take to actually implement that. Now, if you had a 26 on your ankle and a 26 on your belt, and one went down and you could swap mags over to the other, then great. But at that point, you're really not looking at these little single stacks. Now, what I've done with one that I frequently travel with is this guy here. This is another 42. This one's all tarted up with a laser and the TFO night sights. So at this point, I've got something that I can use as my primary carry. I can use it as a backup gun. I can use it in like a hotel room as a night gun, where you're not in your own home and you don't have access to everything you might want to keep around for defense. I mean, this is it. You put this in the TSA approved case, you travel with it, and this is what you've got. During that entire time away from home, you've got this one. This gives me the ability to go from cargo pants and shorts when I'm out with the boys to dress pants if I'm going out to dinner. Whatever it is I'm needing to do from a carry perspective, I can do with this. And I don't have some of the size limitations and weight limitations that come along with a little bit bigger gun. So those are some of the things you want to think about when you're choosing between the 42 and 43, is think about what you're going to use it for. Think about what your intent is. And if size really is the consideration, maybe don't worry so much about the caliber. 380 is an effective caliber, and focus more on a gun that's going to meet all the needs. Now, one thought that might come up is that I've lost the weight advantage by the time I added the laser that's on here and the sights that's on here. So I'm going to get the scale out, set the scale up, walk through that and see. Let's start out with the original 42. Put that on the scale. Comes up to 13.7. Glock says 13.6, so we're right in the territory. And now let's take my modified one with all the extra toys, and it comes up with 14.6. Now this is with a magazine, and that's still 3.3 ounces lighter than the Glock 43, which comes up at 17.9, 7.99 on Glock's site. And of course the thought is I probably would still put the lights and the laser and the night sights on this one. So you're not really losing your weight advantage. Of course, as you add lights and lasers and extra sights, you do add a little bit to the weight. Add picking extenders and extended base plates, same thing. But overall, adding the extra features to make this one a little bit more capable overall carry gun when those situations when something bigger is not going to be an option, or you have to have just one with you and it's got to be able to do everything. overall, I think the 42 is the choice. If for whatever reason you just can't make yourself accept 380, then go with the 43. You will have a full 9mm at that point. I do tend to find this a little bit easier to shoot well, simply because it just fits my hand a little bit better. But both of them have proven to be reliable. Both of them are easy to shoot well, get decent groups with them. And both of them have served a really good purpose. I just happen to tend to choose the 42 when it's time to roll out if I can't take my 26 or my 29 with me for some reason. So if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, check us out on Facebook and Patreon, and have a great day. Thank you.